away from the start of heat number 1 of the AMSCAR Touring Car Series Grand Final today at Sydney's Amaroo Park Raceway. Mark Scaife and Jimmy Richards ready to go. Off the starting line, one of the Nissans bogs down. It looked like Scaife, actually.
Yeah, Mark just sat there, and Jim got a tremendous start and races off to the top of the hill with Mark Gibbs in second place, Colin Bond up to third. And that was a dreadful start for Mark Scaife, and he's now got an awful lot of work to do over the 10-lap journey to try and recover some lost ground. He's on the inside of Rowan Onslow there, who's in the Silver Commodore this weekend, was formerly the GIO Commodore, now the Chicago Pneumatics entry. And there's Scaife, car number 2, his team leader. And car number 1, Jimmy Richards, in control with Mark Gibbs tucked right in behind as they go through the left-hander at Tui's.
Gee, I almost thought it was the start of the warm-up lap there, the way Richards jumped away from the pack. They just left them standing. Colin Bond now moves off the back of the GIO Nissan as they come round the first time through stop corner. Jim Richards gets the power down on the GTR. And Longhurst, you can see the progress he's making through the pack already. I think he's up to 5th place as we take our track cam. The car's going right over the top of the camera. Spectacular view of Amaroo Park as they head up the hill for the second time.
To the top of Skyline again, there's Colin Bond, the Caltech Sierra, moving up pretty closely onto the pack. But it's Jimmy Richards, car number 1, who leads from Mark Gibbs. Car number 4, they exit that turn, then Bond, followed by Tony Longhurst. Next is Paul Morris, then of course Mark Scaife. We take 7's bumper cam riding right beneath the air dam on the Benson and Hedges BMW. Tony Longhurst at the wheel. Spectacular pictures from here on a beautiful day at Sydney's Amaroo Park. And here he is working away at Bond. Watch how close he gets. Feints one down the outside. Where did it go? There he is, still on the inside. Coming back off the turn onto the start finishing straight at Amaroo. Let's see what Longhurst can do as he pulls onto the tail. Looks for a tow in the draft of the Caltech Sierra. Bond gets away just a little up the hill. Now watch Longhurst close from this point on.
Tony's making his usual charge through the pack. Bondi in 3rd position. It's also interesting the point situation here because Mark Scaife only leads his teammate Jim Richards by 7 points. So if he ends up down the pack, it's going to make the final a very exciting thing as far as the points for the final of the AMSCAR Championship.
Cast your mind back to last May, and it was a tremendous race that we had here, and all these guys closely matched. And now Longhurst down the inside of Colin Bond's Caltech Sierra and sneaks up to 3rd position. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues. Gibbs all over the back of Richards. But there's something about this track, Mike, where all varying brands of cars, and look at Mark Scaife up the inside of Colin. He's got through cleanly under brakes. They all seem to bunch up and race hard and close.
Yeah, it's an amazing little racetrack. I don't think it's probably the most preferred racing circuit in Australia for most of the teams. But they all agree, one thing for the spectators here and for television viewers around Australia, it is pure dynamite.
Well, it's a great track to drive on too. Look at this battle here. We've got 2 groups of 2, and Mark Scaife also working hard to get back through the field. The 2 GTRs at the head of the field, the Winfield Nissan, Jimmy Richards followed by Mark Gibbs. Longhurst just tagging along in there. Quite a warm day up here today and a fair bit of dust and debris on the circuit. You can see how dry it is up here at the moment. That might help Tony towards the latter stages of this race. His tyres may be in better shape.
He's getting a little bit closer to them, make no mistake about that. They come down to the lake corner. Mark Gibbs all over Jim Richards on the number 1 Winfield Nissan. And look at Longhurst. What a sensational move that was. That caught Gibbs totally unaware. He was concentrating on getting past Richards. And while he was, Longhurst was through. That's how quick he is in this little B&H BMW.
The sensational acceleration of that BMW out of a stop corner. You expect the 4-wheel drive and the extra power of the Nissan to just leave it for dead. But the BMW matched him for acceleration, led him up the straight. And now Tony moves up into 2nd position as Scaife crowds in on Gibbs.
Well, according to the script, the BM's not supposed to be able to do that, but Tony did it very effectively and got underneath Mark as he came through the stop corner. So it's Nissan, BMW, Nissan in 3rd and 4th position. Very quick in qualifying yesterday, Mark Scaife, 50.88. He's the man moving through the pack at the moment as we take bumper cam. It's Tony Longhurst under the back of Jim Richards as they head down to the right hand at the slowest corner on the circuit. Jim protects his line. Tony tries to sneak up the inside like he did before.
Couldn't do it that time. Now the right-hander. Back onto the start, finishing straight. 10 laps the distance of this one. Half distance completed. 5 down, 5 to go. There's the order. Jimmy Richards leading from Tony Longhurst in the BMW. Mark Gibbs is next, followed by Mark Scaife. Then Colin Bond in the Caltech Sierra. And there's a little gap here on the inside. Longhurst poked the nose through just to let him know he meant business. The times yesterday in qualifying, absolutely sensational. Scaife and Richards both under the track record. Tony Longhurst was third fastest, but he's having a bit of strife here. Mark Gibbs, I think, still probably feels that he was got at a lap ago, and he's left a door open big enough you could drive a bloody Foden through.
Here comes Scaife, makes his move on Gibbs, pushes him out of the way as they come up lap car.
Traffic.
And he comes squeezes down the inside of Longhurst as well. He's taken 2 cars within about a 300 or 400 metre distance.
Jim had the script right. Mark lost the plot.
Now here comes Gibbs back on the inside of Longhurst. Better acceleration out of the corner onto the straight. Longhurst gets left a little bit behind. So Gibbs slots into third position. We've got Nissans 1, 2, 3. Then Tony Longhurst, Colin Bond, and I think Paul Morris, Tony's teammate, there in 6th place. So very tight battle for the top 6.
Last lap through for Jim was a 53 neat.
As most people would be aware, the Whitfield team Nissan putting an entry in for the Tooheys 1000 at Bathurst, claiming they want to run in the spec that they did last year, about 1360 kilo, no pop-off valve. CAMS and the Performance Review Committee this week decided that the car will run as it finished the Australian Touring Car Championship Series, which the car won. And the National Council of CAMS have upheld that. So Freddie Gibson, if he wants to run at Bathurst at the moment, and of course Bob Forbes and his team, the Nissans, will have to run as they finish the Touring Car Championship. Hasn't made everyone happy if you're a Nissan GTR owner. And at the moment, as we've seen, Mark missed the start and has been able to come through the field. That's going to put even more pressure on them. As I said, the script was right. There was Tony Longhurst climbing all over the GTRs, and then all of a sudden, with some lap cars in here, Richards has gone through in car number 1. Scaife right behind him. He's driven very, very well, Mark, after missing the start. And Tony Longhurst has dropped back off the queue. He's back to 4th and applying pressure still on Mark Gibbs.
I think you have to acknowledge that Mark Scaife's put in a fabulous 1992, winning the Tooheys Australian Drivers' Championship and picking up the Touring Car Championship as well. He's really running hot. He's shown today that he can get through the traffic cleanly. He's right on the back of Jimmy Richards at the moment as they come up to 2 laps to run. Yep. So it's been a marvellous drive from him.
We take our Nissan race cam now. We're riding with the race leader, Jimmy Richards, and there's Mark Scaife, closing very, very quickly.
Well, Mark Scaife's won just about everything there is to win in Australian motor racing, and he's still only 25. Australian Touring Car Champion, former Bathurst winner. And now it looks like he's going to go for the AMSCAR Championship as well.
Jimmy Richards, car number 1. We take our Nissan race cam. There's the gap between 1st and 2nd coming down to the lake. You get the last lap board next time around. Not much between them. Mark Gibbs back in 3rd. Longhurst, 2nd breath, comes charging back at him. So it has the makings of a very, very strong and close finish here. Along the short chute to the right-hander. And last lap board about to come out now. There it is. So the teammates, Jimmy Richards and Mark Scaife, lead up the hill. Mark Gibbs trying to hang on to them for a tow, and terrorising him is Tony Longhurst, the enforcer in the B&H BMW. And he'll be looking for one mistake from Gibbs. And here he may have it. No, he poked the nose down on the entry to the corner. Now, somewhere between here and the lake corner, that opportunity may come back for Tony Longhurst. Actually, I'll give a rap to Mark Gibbs. He's been able to pick it up again.
He sure has. He wasn't. He was about 0.8 of a second off Scaife in qualifying, but he's really picked up the pace here. He's matching the pace of the Winfield cars, and he's certainly managing to hold out Longhurst in this final lap.
Now, wait for a big move here if Tony can pull it. Down the inside again. Can he pull it as he calls for gears? No, he can't. It's going to be the last turn coming up. Jimmy Richards, car number 1, will lead them across the line. A 1-2 for the Nissan Whitfield team. A 3rd for Mark Gibbs and the GIO GTR. And 4th going to Tony Longhurst and the Benson & Hedges BMW. Well, if you're a Nissan GTR supporter, absolute delight. 1, 2, 3. That's the way they finish. Richards over Scaife, Gibbs in 3rd, Tony Longhurst in 4th, Paul Morris rounds out the top 5. Back at Amaroo in just a moment.